Now, if you're looking for something that isn't apparel related, hey everyone, and welcome back to Fashion Design with Hannah. For some of you watching and for some of your gift recipients out there, handmade gifts are your love language. And with that, I put together a list of gift ideas that you can knit for either Valentine's Day or really for any gifting occasion. It goes in order of easiest to most difficult to knit, along with least expensive to most expensive, and the quickest to knit, but also needs a little bit more planning. Before we head into the gifting ideas, go ahead and smash that like button and hit subscribe if you aren't already. And if you're new to knitting, I have a lot of resources linked in the description down below, so go ahead and check those out if you need them. Now let's head on over to the guide. First and foremost, what guide wouldn't be complete without something for a heart motif? I know two great projects just for doing this, and both of them come from the Nimble Needles YouTube channel. One is flat for the beginners, and the other is 3D and stuffed, which is definitely for the more advanced knitters because it is knit in the round and also on 3 needles. I feel like the flat one is a great idea if you want to include it while you're mailing out cards or add as a little decoration somewhere, while the 3D knit one, while obviously more difficult, is something that could be great if you add it to something else, like either somehow put it around like some chocolates or add it to some flowers, or even add it to something like a teddy bear, having it held between its arms. I think that would be absolutely adorable. The really great part about these though is that both patterns are free through Nimble Needles, and they have full tutorials accompanying them on Nimble Needles YouTube channel. Now if you're looking more in the wearable accessory department, look no further than a beanie. You could always go with something simple like a 1x1 rib with a 2x2 trim for a little bit of interest. I actually knit this as my first piece for my fiance last year. He was looking for a hat to wear for the winter and he wanted a light gray, so I actually surprised it with him and he wears it all winter long. His head is just a little bit wider in circumference, so I actually cast on a few more stitches widthwise, and he wanted more of a fisherman style, which is really just the rib knit, but also something that he could fold back. So I added a little bit more height to the brim so he could do just that. Now what's great is that this pattern is free as well, so I will link that in the description down below too. And moving on to the next item, I would definitely suggest a scarf for beginners. It's something that doesn't really require any special stitches, but you can always make it as easy or as difficult as you want. I would also suggest doing a longer scarf just so that way they can style it however they want to. My fiance was also looking for a scarf last year, so I knit him one as well. I like to call this the non-rib scarf, as when I was trying to figure out how to do 2x2 rib, I discovered that this made a great texture but wasn't rib. However, I asked my fiance and he loved it, so he somewhat knew that I was knitting something for him, but not quite what. So I made this 63 inches long. It's almost as long as I am tall. However, this length does allow him to actually go ahead and wrap it around at least once. But he could wrap it around twice as well. And it doesn't look dorky. Now this pattern is actually something that I came up with on my own, so if you want, go ahead and leave a comment asking me to put it on Ravelry or Ribbler, and I'll see what I can do because I have yet to post anything on either of those sites. But it is very simple, so if you're not new to knitting, you probably could already guess what I did. I just did the 2x2 trim and my non-rib texture for the whole rest of the length. The next idea on the list would be for a vest or a slip over, as they're starting to be called in the crafting community. Obviously, this is where you're going to want to know someone's general preferences for fit, color, and styling. However, it is lower commitment than a sweater and can be worn year-round depending on what yarn or color work you choose to do. Two more modern patterns that I'd recommend would be the Osgood Slipover and the Arrakis Vest, and both are by Knitwear by Joan. The Osgood is a little bit more fitted, but it does have the ability to have some ease added in, while the Arrakis vest is actually included in the pattern for the Arrakis pullover. Both have some beautiful cabling, so it would definitely be something that's great for a more intermediate knitter. And I will leave links for both in the description down below. Now, if you're looking for something that isn't apparel related but still cozy to knit, I would definitely suggest something like a blanket. The only thing about this is that you're definitely going to need some more time to knit this, especially if it's something for an adult and something that's for like a larger bed that's not a throw, so like a queen or a king. If you want to speed up that blanket project though, don't be afraid to go for a bulky or super bulky yarn, as the bigger yarns will take up more space and make the knitting go by a lot quicker. However, with a thicker yarn comes a thicker price tag. Now, before you say anything in the comments about how long this takes, I know. So this one is definitely going to need some more planning, so maybe not for this Valentine's Day, but maybe if you still want to do it for Valentine's Day, you can give your recipient an IOU note. If you're still going the blanket route but not quite sure on what the person's color preferences would be, a cream, light tan, or iced coffee, or a light to medium gray is always a great choice. It'll go with many colors within someone's home. The last idea on the guide isn't really something that has a specific item or project in mind. However, I love seeing collaboration between people. With that being said, color blocking has been huge for the last few years, and knitwear is a great opportunity for that. So my idea is finding a project that both you and your gift recipient, whether it be your partner, friend, etc., and splitting the project in half, and each of you knits your half in the color of choice. Now, I'm not suggesting that only one of you ends up with this great treasure at the end of the project. However, both of you knits two halves and then you trade the opposite person's half, so you end up with two colors that you can seam together. It'd be a great way to bring people together even if you're not physically close to each other, and it'd be a fantastic way to just create memories. And there we have it, 6 wonderful ideas for gifting for a variety of occasions and recipients. Now I want to know, do you see yourself making or receiving any of these? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you made it this far, I am starting this as the beginning of a little knitwear series. So if you made it this far, do you have any general questions about knitwear, like in the crafting sense or in the fashion industry? Also, thank you so much for watching, and as always, take care, and I'll be seeing you here in the next video. Bye! Now, if you end up liking this pattern and you want me to put it out there somewhere like on Ravelry or Ribbly, now if you're not in the market for apparel, wow.